I really regret cutting my hair this short. This is a 1.2 centimeter haircut. That's not 0.9 centimeters. I use the clippers. And yeah, up here it's got just enough length to sort of cover over a hairpiece slightly. But hairpieces stick up predominantly, right? At this length, they have the weight to lie flat. When they're cut to match your hair at this length, they end up like this. And this is what I was sort of stuck with. I couldn't brush it flat, and there was this big wave that happens here at this perimeter where the hair sort of brushes up and they sort of press each other and they can't fall. When I finally get around to shaving all of this off and making a bigger hairpiece, I think I'll be happier. It's just probably going to be more difficult to put on and get that back edge happening. But I do have a small handheld mirror now that's really ultra light, and it's made out of plastic, and I got it for $25 from a shop. I don't know what sort of shop. It's like a storage shop, like a shop fitting shop. The other problem is though, for me, I've got this problem that's growing here, and I wasn't aware it was this bad. It's just getting worse and worse. So that's going to become a bald spot, so it'll defeat the purpose to just have a front partial soon, probably now, but I haven't got the resources or time or strength or energy or money, or maybe strength or energy more than money, because I already have about 6 hair pieces that are not cut at all yet, and I could resize the stencil and just start doing that. And I might very well have to do it in the next couple of weeks. Just really get on with it. Now that I've shaved my head, I get a really good look at exactly where the baldness is on my head. When it's all long and all over the place, it's easier to conceal the truth from yourself. Or when you cut it really short, you can see everything that's going on. And so all of this is diminishing. It's all going to join up here in a full horseshoe. That's what I'll end up with. My dad's got that, so. Yeah, this looked atrocious. This was the poly piece that I put on. The second one I put on, one of the major problems is because I put so much bleach on these hair pieces. Here's one of the last remaining ones of the batch. It goes all the way up to there. So, you know, the whole entire front was absolutely blonde, especially with that short. Usually it goes blonde and then it goes brown. For me, because I had to cut it that short, it was just 100% blonde at the front. It was ridiculous. So I thought about putting on some lace again, maybe this French lace. I put some lace on the other day. I found it so annoying to put on, but that was more in relation to this glue, where it was this glue is unforgiving and it balls up and creates little dandruffy flakes all over the place. But going back to Ultra Hold, I sort of know how to control this stuff, and it's a lot more forgiving. So today, I just found this last remaining sample of Swiss lace that I've got here, which is really fine, and the most realistic hairpiece you can get on the market, really. The knots are absolutely perfect on this particular piece. The hairs are all flowing in one direction, but they're not V-loops, they're tied in. They're knots, but they're imperceptibly well done, actually. So, I'm not sure if I bleached the back of this at one point to make them even better, but they absolutely look perfect right now, okay? But I'm not sure if this will flow better, because what I want is, I don't want this medium density to hit this medium light density and be a big fat, big brick wall of perimeter on this fine, dainty little hair, and I'm not sure how well it will cut, but I'm gonna try it now. This is Swiss lace, the finest, and I really do not recommend cutting your hair this short like I've got. I have this theory that if you do cut it this short and you can apply the entire hairpiece over the top, you could get away with it, but it will still look a bit like an undercut. You need some sort of length here. My problem is I'm getting wiry grays really starting to come through quite a lot here on both sides of my temples. So I've got to find a solution for that. And I think now, in the future, I should probably start dyeing my hair. The problem with dyeing your hair is any kind of hairpiece that you've got where you've sort of, bleached the knots or the front hairpiece, you'd want to take that off before you dye your hair. Dye your hair separately when you're not wearing a hairpiece. Otherwise it'll all get mixed up and ruin the knots and the front hairline with some bleach. So I've already put down the back most of Ultra Hold. The difficulty with lace, of course, is estimating the front section here. But the thing is, I've got to go and see some people tonight, people who I haven't seen for years, and I don't want them to look at my head like this for the first time in ages. I was going to wear a hat over the top of all of that, but I just need more confidence than that. Because if the hat came off, it looks awful. Okay, so here we go. This is Swiss lace on a short haircut. Very good visibility in lining up with the perimeter with all lace pieces, but this is especially because it's so such a low density. It's medium light density, which is the maximum density you can get with Swiss lace, by the way, because it's the finest of small holes and so on. Try to make sure there's no gap back there. It's a bit hard to get exact. I'm hoping it'll come down far enough at the front. It feels almost long enough. My main problem with lace has always been not the lace itself usually, except for the fact that, sometimes the knots are not completely well bleached. But look, see how thin that density is compared to my natural hair? I might as well be balding, but when it dries, I'm hoping that it'll be more effective. Okay, so I'm just gonna brush this back and get the front hairline glued on. I've just quickly checked that it's in the right position. That seems about right. The problem is I'm gonna have to cut this and hopefully it'll behave itself. My theory is that this is probably the last hairpiece I'm gonna try on, because I don't want to do this again. I've done this 2 times already in the last 2 days. I've thrown out 2 hairpieces that would have been okay if my hair was long, but now that it's going to be very short, the blonde was coming up too far because I messed up with the bleaching. But was still passable with long hair. Okay, so I'm hoping that this will lie flatter and even when it's short, not stick up as much. The other thing about this, if I look at some of these hairs, they are wet. But some hairs seem more from, if this is fine, it feels nice. All the hair feels nice, okay? Because it's from beautiful ladies who looked after their hair probably. And then they put chemicals through it to dye it and bleach it. It doesn't feel dead or awful or in any way. It feels nice, okay? But this hair seems even better. I'm not sure if this hair is even finer than this hair. This feels really fine. It's almost like the thickness of each individual hair strand. These feel fine as well, though it's hard to tell. But maybe it's the density that makes the hair seem even more fine. Because as you get older, your hair becomes a bit more bristly. What's the word? The hairs themselves become sort of thicker and more coarse. Coarse is the word I'm looking for. But younger people have fine little hairs, so it's almost like the hairs from this piece here feel like they're from somebody very young, so they're very thin. So it's more controllable. The thinner the hairs are, I'm not sure if that's true what I'm saying. It seems like it. Maybe it's because of the density though. It could be exactly the same hairs. I don't know. They talk about Remy hair, which I think simply means all the hairs have been cut and they're all facing in the same direction because hairs are kind of cone-shaped, being that the base of each individual hair follicle, the base of each individual hair strand is the thickest at the root, and then it thins out as it comes up towards the tip. And so what they do with Remy hair, when they say Remy, it means that I think this is what's happened. They keep all the hairs tied together so they can't get mixed up and facing the wrong direction. So all the hairs are facing the same direction as each other. But it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, hairs aren't that cone shaped, especially if you cut it. And of course, when you put it through as a knot, you've got the bottom of the hair and the top of the hair both facing up in the same direction now. So I don't really understand that. So maybe I don't really understand what Remy hair is, but that's just something I read once. I would say that people with naturally blonde hair would have a lot thinner hair, finer hair, than people with dark or red hair. Or definitely, I mean, grey hair is probably the most coarse, although that could vary from person to person. Like somebody who naturally had blonde before they went grey may have finer greys, I don't know. At any rate, these hairs feel quite fine. And I'm not sure if this will be thick enough to look good. But my real test is going to be that when I cut it shorter to sort of match this shaved head I've got, I'm hoping that they can stay down because they're fine enough to just obey, right? Whereas the coarse hair will say, no, I'm not going anywhere, but you want to just be able to put a bit of hair product in it and just make it sort of stay in one direction. So if I brush it to the side, it'll just stay there, right, all night. Whereas the other ones will go, nah, I'm staying up here. I'm short now. That's how I've been tied into the base. So natural hair will just come out one at a time. So you can just sort of move it, right? Unless you've got curly hair like me, in which case it'll go, nah, 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 nah. But with straight hair, I kind of wish, that's why people with straight hair have such an easy life, because they're just like, that's done. Or they wake up and go, yep, that's perfect. You know, they don't give a shit. It's perfect. Their lives are easy. Hair is a major part of people's lives. By the way, did you see that John Travolta has shaved his head? He's gone beard and shaved head. It's a completely different look. I mean, he's a bit pale for it. It's like, oh damn, what's the name of that actor? Who's the bad guy in Iron Man 1? Can't remember the actor's name. He's got a bald head with a beard in that movie. But normally he's got beautiful dude hair, right? Can't remember his name for some reason. Okay, anyway. So it is always an option to shave your head. But I would highly recommend that if you are bald, you can't have a double chin as well. Especially if you're pale. Pale, fat, and bald. No. That's the trifecta. You look like a slug. Yeah. I'm talking to you, fatty, baldy, fucking pasty, white. You look like a slug. You're gonna have to wear a hairpiece. Or lose some weight, or both. See, if you have the perfect hairpiece, and you are in shape, then you'll have a much better life. I know that I get treated better if I'm in better shape and have better hair. Like yesterday, I was wearing that. The reason I'm changing this hairpiece so desperately is because I was going around shopping and doing some different things, and I was getting bad treatment from people, from customer service and stuff. They're like, yeah, I've already given it to you, right? Like, there was no respect coming in. I was like, fuck. And I looked in the mirror, I was like, holy shit, I look like a fucking demon. Right? That's terrible. You can always tell that people are a good mirror. Not people you know, but sometimes people you know as well. You'll notice, why did they treat me this way? And then you look in the mirror and go, fuck, I'm fucking ugly. I can't believe I had this big booger slid up the side of my face after I must have wiped my nose the whole time. You know, or something. Your hair looks like shit. This is real, kids. I'm talking about real life here. Oh, that's what's on the inside that counts. Probably is, but people don't know that. So go and hang out with hippies if you think you're going to be treated better. But I can tell you what, hippies do not give a shit about their stuff they preach. Be open-minded. Are you wearing a suit? We hate that type of person. They're not open-minded, trust me. Got really dried out lips at the moment because of the flu, I think. Hasn't hit me too badly, but I've had very dry, sore throat. And I've been very phlegmy and stuff. This is moisturizer, by the way. Just started realizing that I'm getting a lot of wrinkles with my greys, and I'd rather not have it. Grey, bald, and wrinkly. Wrinkles don't look too bad on a man, to be honest. I'm not supposed to be young and pretty, to be honest. So it's okay, I guess. On a man. I don't mind them on a woman, it's just that they're less sort of attractive. But the thing is, it is true that younger girls don't look at me as much as they used to. Unless my hair's good, I guess. But I mean, I don't have anything in common with them. And I spent a year with young people last year, and it's very difficult to relate. They laugh at silly shit. And they don't listen when you explain to them the goings on of the world that they're wondering about. They don't give a shit that you know the answer. They don't care at all. And I'm not the first generation of person who have said this, of course. Other people who are older than me probably said it. I put too much glue down the bottom there. And here's the bit where the guessing comes in with lace, see? Guessed wrong there. Well, I wasn't aiming very nicely, probably should have been more careful. Didn't put it there. If I don't get those hairs out, they'll become a globby mess. I've still got a few seconds, you know, before my body heat melts the glue and the hairs in. But if I start rubbing away at this, you know, I can feel it's got glue on it. You can't see it, but I can feel it. It's not sticky at the moment, but yeah, you shouldn't leave that glue there because the hair looks fine on day one, because by day two, this is all going to be dirt, covered in dirt, just from dust in the atmosphere and bits of hair and pillow dust or whatever. And then your hair start running along the front line there. So what I should have done, by the way, this feels seamless from the forehead to the Swiss lace. It's super soft as well. It feels absolutely seamless. So the thinness of this lace is really good. The density might be okay, but I suspect I've got a different colored hair than this. I think this was medium brown and I've got medium dark brown, although my hair does fluctuate in color in winter and summer, and also I've just cut off a whole bunch of hair, so this hair hasn't seen sunlight either. So it could be a color mismatch, but definitely not as bad as that bleached stuff that I had before, I don't think. So as you can see here, the knots are very well bleached on this hairpiece. And I don't remember if I had to add to that or if it just came exactly like that. Each hairpiece can be evaluated on its own unique merits. Some hairpieces are better than others from the same company, of the same type, of the same color. Because they're not made by a machine, they're made by human hand, so some tapestries from the same artist would be better than others. I want to be careful to put on enough glue, but not too much glue, and also try not to get it down on my forehead here. See, as you can see, that area is definitely way too low for where this is going to land. You should see an example of how light and easy to manipulate this Swiss lace is. Look at French lace next to it, side by side. I don't know if you can tell the difference in the thickness of the material. That's French lace, which allows for a medium density. That's medium density. This is medium light density. You can really tell the difference. I'm hoping that the medium light density will be enough. I'm hoping because of the medium light density, I can get more of a brush obedience from this hair, because it won't be holding itself up with all the extra hairs. I fear there's not enough glue, so we get a bit more. I just ran this against the glue brush. And this spot that I'm doing right now is the most noticeable part of the hairpiece. The front center of the hairline. So I'm using my finger and I'm putting it in this baby wipe. I'm going to try and get off any excess. This will not clear off the glue though, it will still remain there. And it still will become covered in dirt within 24 hours, guaranteed. But you all know that about lace, right? Cleaning the front hairline, there are techniques of holding and brushing downwards and stuff, but it's it's impossible basically to make it look as good as it does on day one. Like that is, you see where that transitions from my head to my hairpiece? The transition point is it's impossible to tell that that's not growing out of my head right now. Nobody can tell that that's not coming out of my head all the way along. It's perfect all the way along the front. So people talk about the disadvantages of poly. Basically, the poly disadvantage is the front hairline never looks really quite invisible enough. It can, but it's just that when you cut it, you've cut the hair so exact with plastic, and there's no rigidiness with those V-loops to come close to this in terms of appearance. So lace, Swiss lace, is the clear winner on day one. It's just the maintenance that's required to keep it this good is just horrendous. So in wintertime, like now for me, it's winter, I shouldn't really have to worry too much about the glue shining through, because once you've sort of pressed it down with your finger, you've eliminated the shine until it melts at 25 degrees Celsius, and it's probably right now about 9 degrees Celsius here in this room, which is equal to about, let's say, if 70 equals 20, then you go 60 equals 15, and 50 equals 9. So it's about 50 degrees Fahrenheit in this room right now. Yeah, it's cold. Pretty cold. Not freezing. I feel awakened by the coldness, especially after sleeping with the heater on in the room. It was just too hot in there. It probably woke me up. Couldn't breathe properly or something. So that hasn't been left to dry long enough yet, even though I feel like it wouldn't matter. See, with poly, it doesn't matter. That's long enough. Just push it down. That's fine. It's not going to squish out at this point, so you just finish it. But with lace, you really don't want any glue to penetrate up through. Not that there seems to be enough glue there anyway. There probably is not enough glue really. It looks like there's hardly any glue there at all. See, that would ruin this perfect front hairline, right? That looks absolutely seamless between the scalp, all the way, even in there, even in those corners and everything. It's absolutely indistinguishable, and it was easy to put on. This is Swiss lace. It's the lightest hair piece. It's medium light density, so you can see through it when you're placing it. There can't be a wall of hair with Swiss lace because the maximum density is medium light. So there's no way you skin and then a bunch of hair is just going to go clunk straight away, right? This is Swiss lace. And if this hair color matches and the density is good enough at this perimeter point, I think I'll get away with it today. In fact, if I do get away with it, and I need to keep this sides short and all the back short, and I want a full-time short haircut, and I've got this thing going on, then having a thinner hair density is probably a consideration I should think about. But the problem is the glue in summertime. It can't be Walker Tape Ultra Hold because that melts in the summer and you can shine through. There won't be any sweat because there can be sweat, but it's not going to be causing the sweat to push the hairpiece off in any way. This is way too light, okay? This is just super light. This stuff will... The thing is, when you have a poly hairpiece on, this is like a condom on your head, so of course it's going to sweat like crazy underneath, and there's nothing you can do. This stuff does nothing. I can sweat. This does nothing, right? You shake it up all you want. You put on 2 layers. Doesn't matter. Doesn't do anything. Doesn't stop you from sweating. So you need a glue that could potentially. You need a glue that does not shine. Okay. This might not shine, but it's messy to work with. But if there was going to be a combination of this and this in summertime, this might not shine at all, and therefore you'd have to use this in summer, or something similar to it, something with enough stick. This does hold, by the way. It holds. But when there's sweat and poly involved, it fails. And the thing is, you can't just push the poly back down and just squish it back in like you can with this. Because this, once water or sweat evaporates out of it, it's still got some stickiness to it, and it can still give you some hold. This has 0 hold after the tiniest amount of water touches it in the first 24 hours, or any time after that. It kind of sets like plastic over 24 hours. And so I guess it must go into your scalp pores on a molecular level and sort of hold in that way. And then the netting of the hairpiece, it's squished into those little grooves on a molecular level in that direction. So it's got a double sort of directional hold. But the moment anything gets lifted out, it's now just hardened plastic and it will not re-fix. Something like that. It feels like this glue. If I put this glue on the wall and then I waited for 24 hours and then I tried to stick a piece of paper to it, I'd be surprised if it held for much at all. It's strange like that. This stuff, it could be 3 weeks later and I put a piece of paper and that paper's not going to come off for 10 years, right? It's acrylic glue. I mean, if there's no wind. Whereas this stuff, You put this on, 24 hours later, you put a piece of paper on the wall. One day, a small piece of dust will just land on the page. The weight will go beyond the certain critical threshold and the paper will fall. That will not. But that's extremely shiny. That might not be shiny at all. You can already see, I don't know if you can see from your perspective, but I can see the shimmering shine of this glue already, just along the front. The thing is, the moment you sort of press your finger down on it, the shine goes away. And there's also this stuff, Shine Killer, from NYX. I got that from Maya or something, which is a large department store, but I'm sure you can find it online. That's the other information you might need. Okay. But if you put that over a melted summer version of that glue, that's not going to kill the melting of the glue. And if you wear this with lace in summer, and then you try to wear a hat or something, it'll squish the now melted glue and the hairs together and destroy the hairpiece. So you really can't get away with this plus lace on a hot summer day. Okay, I think that should be dry by now. Yeah, okay. Oops. I was a bit worried that there was a corrugation. I thought it was like that, and I was sort of pressing it down. It was sort of, the netting was sort of coming together like that, and I just had to flatten it out by smoothing it out like that, so it ended up like that instead of like that. So, was there enough glue? Yep, and I went past the front of the hairline as well. These hairs at the front might get the glue all over the front of them as well. Which means that after day one, the thing is for me, today is the only day I'll really be socializing with people a lot. So, for a while. I've just got to lay low for a while. Well, my hair grows back as well, but I just can't be bothered seeing people at the moment. Okay, so there's one good thing about this. This is really this is medium light density, okay? So any water that I spray on this now to style it would affect this stuff probably if this was the glue I'd used. And so I'd have to just walk around like this, or wear a hat, or try to style it without water somehow, because the water would definitely penetrate and touch the glue and wreck it. But because I'm using the Ultra Hold on this particular instance, I'm allowed to because it's winter. There's no problem having water on that Ultra Hold. So it's really vital that your knots are absolutely bleached perfectly. And as you can see on this unit, these knots are they are practically perfect. There's something happening with a bit of a dark one right there. That one just there. There's only one dark pixel. Everything else is just fucking perfect. And the medium light density allows itself to be just brushed in like a neutrino traveling right through the planet Earth as I brush this through and into my natural hair. I don't know if the colors match exactly, and this bit over here is probably gonna have to be cut and everything, but it feels so light. It looks like I'm sort of receding compared to my natural hair, but maybe because my natural hair is kind of receding further up here. Let's have a look. See, normally, they're different, they seem like different types of brown. It is a shade lighter, this brown, But if I had this shade of brown next time, so that bald patch right there, that bald patch doesn't seem as low density now that this is low density as well. I'll sort of balance it out. So maybe I need to be getting medium light density in order to deal with this problem of balding, or absolute thinning of the back and middle, before I have to go get a full cap. The hairs snap very easily, by the way. Very fragile. But Swiss lace, it's good. And I'm also thinking, I've got to stop buying stock pieces. I'm just sick of hairs. Whenever I buy hairs that are going in all directions, I often have to throw them all away anyway. If you buy a stock piece, you've got to wait 8 weeks or something. Ridiculously long wait. But I think you can pay a bit extra and get them to give you a rush and prioritize your job faster, which might bring it down to something like 4 weeks or something, hopefully. I'd be willing to probably pay a bit extra to get it faster, unless I was, well organized, in which case the first one I might pay to rush it, but then I'd order the next batch 3 months in advance, and it just keeps coming all the time. So I know that it's not going to run out. If you can set aside a budget for your hair, like you would for paying the rent, then you'll be okay with it never running out. But then, you might want to change your mind about what hairpiece you want. So you might have to get the next batch as the old style that you wanted, and then the one after that, potentially you can change your order. But this stuff, this thin, easy to use hair right now, it solved a lot of my problems. It's not the best haircut in the world, but it's a lot better than that was. And it can lie flat. I can brush it flat, It's a lot easier to just obey me. And it's not simply because the hairs are not V-loops, because V-loops sort of like, it sort of wants to go like that all the time. So somehow, all over the place. Not sort of like that, but they still want to sort of spring up a little bit because they're tied in, but they've got a bit more control. But the main thing is here, I think, the lighter density means that hairs are not pushed vertical by the one beside them, right? They've got their distance apart, so they can all sort of have room to lean more. I actually did start with medium light density in the beginning, but then I felt like it looked a little bit too thin, and I had the problem of using glue that's ultra shiny in the summertime. I'll tell you what, that is a very smooth, beautiful feeling hair. And if a woman ran her hand through your hair, or a gay lover or whatever, they'd have to stick their fingertips right on this area to feel that there's the lace there. But running the palm of your hand from there to there, it's silly for me to say that. It would be the same for every hairpiece. Every hairpiece you can't really feel it unless you've got the lip with an overhang. That's really the only time you'd ever feel that sort of lump. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with this Swiss lace. It's always been the glue's fault that I could never use this properly. So how do you guys feel about John Travolta shaving his head? Do you like it? Or do you think he should wear a hairpiece? I mean, there's a lot of freedom to going, yeah, fuck it, I'm old now, who gives a fuck, right? But yeah. So which hair product should I use? This is leave-in conditioner. It has no hold at all. This is oil, which has no hold at all. And the thing is, unless I want to cut my hair, which I might have to, but I'm thinking I don't want to. I just don't want to end up like that again. Obviously this hair doesn't suit this length shaved head, but you've got to think about the next couple of weeks. I mean, it's going to grow back a bit, at which point this will be an adequate sort of length. If this lasts for 2 weeks, I'll probably get really frustrated with all the build-up of dust and disgustingness and all this leftover glue that I've left here. But there's always C22 and baby wipes. Spray along the front, wipe that down. Probably not spray on there directly, probably spray onto the baby wipe and then do that, because you don't want it to penetrate through and remove the glue hold. It's always difficult to clean the front hairline. You don't really want to do it if you can avoid it. With poly, you don't really need to ever do it. That's the great thing about poly. But with lace, it's a constant battle. As for day one, Swiss lace is God. Swiss lace is flawless. Any kind of imperfections anywhere along are not the fault of this Swiss lace piece. And it's all to do with how well bleached these knots are. If you had badly bleached knots, it wouldn't work, okay? The other thing is, in terms of controllability, medium light is much easier to work with. If it's not too thin for you to see through into the scalp a lot. It looks like back here I missed a bit. It looks like they glued together a bit back there. So that gap up there, got some glue in those hairs back there. I just want to see if I can quickly comb that out without any trouble. Yeah, this is the problem, see, at the back perimeter where the hairpiece meets wherever you decided to cut it in. We've all got a perimeter, whether yours is further back here or right here where mine is. I'm not going to keep it just there. I'm sick of having that lump thing, right? I want it, by the way, that lump doesn't feel like much at the moment with the Swiss lace. I want to eventually, in the next maybe few weeks, if I'm brave enough, to cut back there. And maybe I'll have to do everything with one hand from now on while I hold this mirror over my head, or I'll figure out some sort of camera setup. You see that? The places where the hairpiece is lower density than my natural hair. Okay? So medium light sort of makes you look like you're balding. Okay? If I just start from the hairpiece, you can see through right down to the scalp, and then here you can barely see the scalp at all because it's covered. Whereas normally I would find that my natural hair looks a lot thinner than medium. So I'm somewhere between medium light and medium naturally. The best solution is to have your hair longer than I've got it, probably, unless this is a full cap. But I'm not sure exactly how I would get that perimeter perfect. And you can see there, on this occasion and nearly every other occasion, probably every occasion I've ever done it, that perimeter has always got some sort of gap or overhang. It's very difficult to get it exact. You can see along there, it's always already a problem beginning. That glue's already made these hairs stick there. So the trick to quickly getting these out is obviously just get some alcohol spray. Fuck. Alright. Just brush it out. In fact, you're probably better off removing any kind of dust or dirt with alcohol spray rather than C22, because that will give you just enough kind of manipulation. Just rub that out. So if you want to rub one out on your head or on your face,
Okay, Swiss lace episode. About time, huh? Okay, now I think what I'll do is I'll put this in so I've got some sort of hold for the styling. This is leave-in conditioner. Leave-in conditioner is surprisingly stupidly expensive. I don't know why. It's just basically conditioner. It seems like a bit different from conditioner though. I don't know. It has no hold whatsoever. Like the only reason it's holding right now is it's the same reason that water would have some hold. It's wet, that's why. It clumps together. I might just sort of stick with this style, fully trusting the brush back look. Because it's an imperceptible hairline, which is fucking amazing. It's such a relief to have a perfect hairline. I can't tell you. It's amazing. I love it. And I wish it was like this every single fucking day. Because if it was, I'd forget I was bald. And I often forget I'm bald. We've got the sort of certain hairstyles that are sort of got overhang, but brush forward look sort of. But this brush back look is really hard to ever achieve with a hairpiece. But with Swiss lace on day one, at least, it's pretty fucking flawless. Okay. It is not the best hairstyle in the world. But with certain clothes, I could make it work maybe. I really just don't want it to fuck up by cutting it. I might even choose to wear a hat over it, which would probably destroy the hairpiece. But at least it's winter, so I have... You know, if I'm gonna wear a hat, it's probably best not to wear product, so I can always do that when I take the hairpiece off, which doesn't match the rest of my shaved head, but you know, just a bad haircut. It's not a bald man with a bad toupee, bad haircut, right? Because you can see it's not a hairpiece. You can see it clearly. Look, am I not proving to you that these hairs are growing out of my head? They fucking are, dude. I know what you're talking about. You're telling people I've got a hairpiece? Look at that. Swiss lace.